Hello, the game has started. It's my opponent to go first. I've got quite an unbalanced rack with just one vowel. And opponent changes. But I think my rack is too good to do the same. I have no duplicate tiles. And I can play wonk or no. I don't think I've got any 5-letter plays. None which have come to mind anyway. So wonk for 22. Pretty good. Much better than the previous rack. One extra vowel and all bingo-y tiles. Not seeing a 7 with this rack. I would have toadstool through 2 O's. Could happen. And there probably are some other 8s, but none has come to mind. Well, I don't get my double O, and opponent bingos with a double-double for 86. So great start for him. So do any of the new floaters assist, and in particular I'm looking at the I and the E. So I've got the ED ending. I have toadlets. Do I have anything through the I? Well, it's only going to be marginally better at best. Toadlets for 63. Not too bad. I have GIF on my rack. And I can play GIFs in column 13, but it doesn't score massively well. Fifi is also good, retaining the J. That plays in row K. What else do I have? Neither of my high-scoring plays goes next to the I on the left-hand side. Wow, another bingo by opponent, and that's both blanks gone. My Fifi spot has gone. The C not conducive to parallel plays, only taking an H after it. So I still have GIFs, which will score about 20 points, but it will leave a rack leave of A, E, I, which is a bit vowely. However, I don't wish to hang on to any of these consonants. So I could play Jiffies. 25 points. Better rack leave, better score than GIFs. Or a very similar score. Not giving too much away. Just pausing in case I've got something big with my F or J on one of these double letter squares. So close to our flage and phalage. But I've only got one A, and I'm not seeing anything through the C. I'm going with this. Great, I have the Q with the U, plus some other vowels to help play it. So I have qua and jar, aqua and jar. Do I have anything beginning ASQI? That would be a big score, but I don't. Through an E, I would have a quiver. No E's available. I was just about to look at this L. Opponent slowing down massively with just 8 points. So what do I have? I have quai and id. Pretty good. I'm not going to play off the V with the Q, with the options available. Wow. If only I could get this Q next to the I to play twice, something like Talak. That would have been massive, but it's not worth fishing for such a play. So is there any point in dwelling any longer on this? I don't think so. So Kwai or key for 34. Not bad. That looks pretty balanced. V and Y not bingo-y. However, the rest of the rack is. And there could be something here, but I'm not seeing a 7, and there aren't too many floaters. 18 for opponent, so his lead is just 40 points. So he hasn't zoomed off into the distance. Lull only takes an S at the end, just one S to come and no blanks. So I could play Ivy from the second eye of Jiffy's. 27 points. Pretty good rack leave, slightly vowel heavy. Not providing anything for opponents. Wow, look at column 14. If only I could get a 5-letter play ending A-N-Y. But I don't think I have such a play. I could play A-N-Y. 41 points, keeping the V. But look at this, 4 R's to come, and I'm looking at column 15, and I'm retaining the V. I'm just wondering if KV is good with a Y. I don't think it is. Carvey is. So I could play Carvey for 42, keeping double E-N. That's 15 more points than Ivy. AR doesn't add 15 points to double EN, but it does add quite a lot. What to do? The trouble with keeping double ENAR is that there aren't really any floating consonants, so I'd be dependent on pretty much landing a 7-letter bingo, which could happen. Still quite a lot of A's and R's to come. I think I'm going to play Carvey because if opponent has one of the 2 H's, he's got a massive score in row A, and he's not going to score massively in row H. So I'm going with this. I draw both H's. And not a good rack, so I drew GH or GHHP. And the board looking quite tight. Bingo lanes in row G, face value. New bingo lane in row N, created by opponent. Just 14 points, so he's had a run of 8, 18 and 14. I wonder if he's close to a bingo and keeping pretty good 4 and 5-letter sets. I trail by only 15 now. This is interesting. I could play Hay. 30 points pretty good, and Hut takes a P in front, which I have on my rack. It's not going to score massively, but it is a way of guaranteeing a score next turn. And although the gap's 15 and I'll go into a 15-point lead, I'm not averse to opening the board up because I still feel that I'm a tempo behind. I could play PEH in this spot. Lower score, but I don't think the rack leave justifies it. I'm retaining an E for Cade. Still a ton of E's to come, but if either of us plays in row N, access will be provided almost certainly to row O. Can't see any ASP or ASH words in column 8. Not seeing anywhere else for HEH. 12 minutes on my clock. I'm going with this. Wow. I have a bingo. I have seeping, which plays in row N. I don't think it plays anywhere else. I don't have anything down from the Y. Columns 3 and 4, also bingo lanes. Fantastic, just 8 points for opponent, but far more importantly, he leaves alone my seeping spot. And I think this is the place to play it, rather than one square to the left or one square to the right. 81 points, which is pretty good. Nowhere else for it. Does seeping have an anagram? I don't think so, not one I can see. I'm going with this. Wow, I have drawn Ozonide, which plays in row O. It also plays in column 3. That's a massive stroke of good fortune. I'm guaranteed a bingo next turn. And I currently have a 90-point lead. Opponent has been threatening to bingo with low-scoring plays, but he hasn't done so. He takes my better Ozonide spot, but this one remains. Ozonide for 91. Bang! And my rack leaves terrible, but I don't care. I have got a huge lead, 140 points. There are only 15 tiles in the bag. Surely I can outrun my opponent. Let me check the remaining vowels. 7 out of 22. Wow. So all these vowels on my rack, not as bad as they initially looked. Gram takes nothing in front. Za takes nothing after it that I have. Does take an A. 10 minutes on my clock. So what goes after ZA in the unseen pool? G and X. Yeah, I probably ought to take that out. There is nowhere else hot on the entire board. I don't think row O is particularly hot. Only an O can go after S. And there aren't many OE words. Something OE words. So what can I play? Beginning with an A. Well, I could play AUA. Keeping 3 O's. Fishing for a 4th. Only 16 points. And my lead is only 100. But this board is super unbingo-y. Can I do better? I don't think so. This is really dampening down volatility. The ZA spot. Probably the best on the board. Although not a huge amount was being threatened there. Just wondering if I have a better play in this spot than AUA. I don't think so. Well, I draw one of the remaining vowels. Just looking now at row O. I could play emo underneath seeping for quite a decent score. And retaining the B for score. And reducing the O's from 3 to 2, all of which are good things. Omar only takes an S after it, so there's nothing on offer nothing great on offer in column 6. GI takes nothing in front, so row M, not a bingo lane. I think probably the only bingo lane is column 15, and that's pretty slim pickings. with plays having to begin with a Y. Now I'm looking at this E in inept, so my B or my M can go in front of it, but O doesn't go in front of T, so I'm looking at MOE words or BOE words. I could play just MOE. 27. So I've actually got two useful spots for those tiles, row O and row N, one of which will definitely play. Now, I never got around to using the P front hook for hut, but hut also takes a B in front, so I could play mob and but. It also takes a C in front. So there's still one B out there. Great, just 20 points, and opponents created no new lanes or no new dangers. 4 vowels out of 12. So do I play emo or mob? I think emo. 27 points. Then I'm retaining the B for Bahut. And also bow and B, and I'm stopping my opponent scoring in row O. I'm going with this. Well, I pick no vowels, and I don't pick the Y either. So I have gob in column 8, just 2 tiles in the bag. I guess column 14 available for a handy score. But I don't have a play which goes in that spot. The best I can do now in row N is just a 2-letter play, W-O. Remaining tiles looking a lot better than they were before. So opponent creates a new bingo lane. He's only got 6 tiles left, so I can forget about that danger. Can I go out into 8 minutes on my clock? Well, I can, but it's not a guaranteed out into, although I can make it so. Let me explain. So I can play tro. Then I've got gob in column 8, and I've also got gob in column 2. So that's tro for 22. Is it providing anything massive for my opponent? I don't think so. Are there any massive X spots or Y spots I need to block? Well, this is the Y spot next to the F. But opponent's not going to play his X off with that Y. I'm going with this. I'm looking around for any other gob spots. Well, there's bog, bow, and ow. But I don't think that outscores either of the spots I've identified. Trow, or trow, only takes an S at the end. Opponent will probably be able to see that I can go out and will probably be looking for Y and X spots, and he has found one, 31 points. 7 minutes on my clock. I have gob for 27. Do I have anything better? Well, the column 2 spot isn't better, so I am going with this. And the final score, 362 for my opponent, 486 for me, a winning margin of 124 points, so a huge, huge win. Let's see what I missed. It was my opponent to go first. No bingo. He changed. And I played no. There was a 5-letter play lound, but it retained the non-bingo-y K, so I prefer my play. Great rack for opponent. Plays Ditzia. And now Toadlets was the only bingo, so delighted to have spotted that. Fantastic pickup of 7 random tiles for opponent. He plays Cleanse, a whole bunch of other bingos available. I played Jiffies for 25. I could have got 5 more points, but retaining both Fs. G7. So how does Fife as a rack leave compare to A? Double F isn't actually a terribly bad set of tiles to have, and the E and the I help it. But my best guess is that these rack leaves are actually fairly similar. And I think they're both around the 0 mark. Fife maybe. Well, I wouldn't even put it as definitively positive. I think they're both very close to 0. So I played Jiffies. Opponent plays, I think, Lull from this rack. Keeping at it. And I have Key for 34. Aqua would have placed the A in row A, so I prefer Key. Opponent's rack, well, he kept at it and he's drawn Sit, which he now plays. And I play Carvey for 42. And I was thinking about Ivy, and I'm still not sure which is better. Any in column 14 I don't like because of the volatility created for 4-letter plays, hooking jar. Great rack for opponent, but no bingo. He plays Cad. Peg L2. Okay, I'm not a fan of that. Opening up access to loads of triple word squares. So I play Hey for 30, which I think is fine. Again, no bingo, but very bingo-y tiles. Opponent plays NU. And now I get my bingo down first with Seeping. And there are 3 spots for that in row N and nothing else on offer. Opponent's still close to a bingo. Agonizingly close, but there's nothing which works. Plays Inept for 33. And now I draw fantastically, fortunately, Ozone-Eyed for 91. And that puts me into a 140-point lead with just 15 tiles to come. Opponent plays Gram. Uma, E2. Okay, I'm not a fan of that, opening up access to triple word squares. So I still like my play. AUA for 16. It's a smaller score, but it really dampens down the board. Opponent plays Dev. 01. Boet for 34, keeping Moo. And of course Cadet. I didn't think of a T on the end of Cade. So I play Emo for 27. Probably the top plays are better. Opponent plays Boa. M9. Bauer keeping Got. Well, I played Tro because I can see that I'm guaranteed an out in 2, and by retaining the B, that increases the score for my next move. Opponent plays Yax, and finally Gob for 27 is best. So, what a game. Opponent gets off to a fantastic start with Ditzia. I don't have a great rack, and I feel that it's going to be my opponent's game, then suddenly in the middle I have back-to-back bingos, completely unexpectedly, of Seeping and Ozonide, and suddenly I was in the whip hand and the board was tight. So, cracking fun. I hope you enjoyed watching that game, and I will see you next time.